All righty, boom. There's my messed up mug. Let's see, where's PhD Tony? There's PhD Tony, and then we have Mr. JL Warren. JL, don't come at me, or I'll challenge you to a celebrity boxing match, bro. Warren.
So now
Well,
this has been
okay,
advertised.
No, a
No,
lot of
let
them
Tony
are-
finish. You let Tony
okay,
finish.
Sorry, go ahead, Tony. My bad.
This
Age
has
before
been
me.
advertised. Well, yeah. I mean, people make comments like that as though they expect them to offend me somehow. I'm old, fat, and ugly. Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, I never added those two parts. That was all you.
That was all me. Well, you said you were more beautiful, and you said I was old, so you kind of said old and ugly. Certainly relative to you. I just added in the fat because I like to be complete with the information.
I mean, if we're gonna do it, might as well hit the trifecta. Exactly.
Yeah, you may as well get it right. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm very comfortable with all of that. So you know, no need to spare my feelings. You're just misinforming the viewership otherwise. But on the subject of misinforming the viewership, we keep on advertising this as the Four Beardsmen, right?
True.
I know that there is some resentment in our viewing public amongst my inclusion on that. I have to say I'm not that committed to the concept of having a beard. So,
Well, you have a beard though. I can see it. I don't have my glasses on, but there's this wider area around your chin, except for this little spot right here where the split of your chin. And I just think that's where you keep all your dark drugs. So that's where your hash is stashed.
yeah.
But yeah, I can see it. You have a beard. It
Yeah,
qualifies.
he's got a beard. You're good.
Yeah.
You're solid.
But
That's
I
fine.
thought you were. I thought you were going to say that. We're supposed to be the fourth Beardsmen, and yet, our fourth member is never fucking here.
Well, that's where I was ultimately going. You know, while admitting that according to certain viewers, certain of our viewership, I shouldn't be on the stream at all. But there seems to be a member in good standing with a beard and everything, who just elects not to participate.
It's true.
Charlie Wolf says he has a beard and nothing but time.
So the Irish needs to lift his game here as far as attendance is concerned. We need to recruit a truancy officer.
We do.
That's what we need.
Truancy officer. Somebody to go smack him around a little bit. Now, to be, I guess, fully transparent, he is dealing with some sort of like toe issue. I think he stubbed his toe, so
Yeah. So until he's being cleared of brain damage, yeah, probably best.
Tell me you're not being serious.
No, I'm not being serious.
Okay.
No.
I was like, you came up with some other thing. Yeah, and in response to what you said earlier, Johnny, that's because a lot of these
Assholes.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these assholes that we fucking deal with, they talk a mean fucking game. They do. They run their mouths and blah 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 and do the crap.
Yes,
It's
they
like,
do.
okay, so put your money where your mouth is. Meet me in the ring. I'll meet you in the octagon. I got no problem with that. I'll swing for charity, and maybe they'll whoop my ass. Maybe they would. I'm willing to take that risk. It's like get my ass beat for charity. I'll eat my humble pie, but I seriously doubt it. It's highly unlikely.
I do have to say that speaking of people who talk a lot of shit but don't necessarily have the stones to back it up, I've been in contact with everyone's favorite Young Earth creation douchebag, Matt Powell.
Oh. He's my favorite.
No,
that was
done facetiously, Tony.
Okay, so I heard some mention of helium.
For fuck's sake! Yes, have you not gone and seen this video?
I have not. I don't watch any of his stuff. But let me guess. His idea is that the Earth must be young because if it was old, all the helium would have escaped from the rock that it's stored in,
Wow.
and would have escaped the atmosphere. Is that what he's saying?
It's as if you have already dealt with this before.
It's like it's like you're educated on this subject.
It's somehow
Yes.
magically, through the magic of magics, you have figured out this argument.
Yeah, the fucker
No.
cracked the fucker cracked a
Which-
text. No, the
which-
fucker cracked a textbook once in his life.
What was that textbook called? The Book of Spells?
Well, the issue is, it's almost like there might be a process occurring inside the Earth that produces helium.
No,
I mean,
there's
No.
do you know what?
So you mean to tell me you believe there's a giant clown under the ground with one of those big thing cylinders and just putting in the rocks?
Well, no, that's not exactly the process that I'm suggesting.
The Earth is just a great valve stopper on a giant helium. Giant
That's what it
helium tank.
is. The Earth is
There's
a
a
balloon.
process. There is a process called radioactive decay, and one of the forms that decay can take is alpha particle decay. And for those who know what an alpha particle is, it is two protons and two neutrons, and it looks very much like a helium atom. And there are 8 alpha particle decays in the pathway from uranium-238 to lead-206, and there are 7 alpha particle decays in the pathway from U-235 to lead-207. So it is through alpha particle decay that the rocks inside the Earth are releasing helium. So
You've
that's why
already
we still have
said-
helium.
You've already said a whole bunch of words that guy doesn't understand.
Well, Monkey in the
Yes.
Monkey in the Works actually jumped forward right before Tony started talking. Monkey in the Works was like alpha decay. Anyone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
apparently, and Mr. Malora would like to say that apparently the textbook that he read was written by the mad Arab Abdul Al-Razad.
Oh,
Excellent reference there. Fantastic reference there.
maybe. Yes.
Because Deadites.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So
Trump
being
has
called
a
a
giant
Nazi.
But yes,
inflatable
He's a
wig.
Deadite. He's a Deadite.
Trump
He
is?
came back. No, dude, you said Jesus Christ. I was like, yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
true.
No,
That's
he-
true.
he is. Trump has a giant inflatable wig on his head,
Yeah, right.
let alone his backyard. Yeah,
Well,
and
okay,
I'm pretty
now,
certain.
now these guys have
And I'm
inflatable
pretty.
objects in their backyard.
I'm pretty certain that that's radioactive too.
Oh, well.
Um,
It has to be to want to stick to his head.
Well, if we get the
But yeah.
if we get the opportunity, I'll bring it up. I have something I want to run past you guys while Tony is explaining why there is a continuous supply of helium on the planet, and all children can be happy because their balloons will float.
They all float down here.
I seem to recall that actually there was a helium shortage a few years ago, but then we found a huge deposit of helium somewhere in Africa.
Oh, that means
I think in
Africa is
Nigeria.
the youngest place on the earth, according to Matt Powell.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Uh,
I reached out to Matt Powell, and I left a comment on this video saying
You're an idiot.
no, not directly.
Okay.
I coded it in a way that was a challenge to step into a moderated debate ring, hosted by yours truly, of course, against someone who might have answers to those questions or to that bullshit that he's spewing.
Who is the opponent?
I have no idea, but let's just say he's a wizard.
So okay,
Well,
so
I would-
seriously, it's gonna be PhD Tony versus
Yeah.
Matt Powell.
Yeah,
This is gonna be fucking hilarious.
this is gonna be like Mike Tyson versus me.
This is some Green Jacket Masters versus Putt Putt.
Hey, some of them putt kids are fucking good. You watch out for them guys.
Fuck your windmill. I'm driving 300 yards.
Yeah. If you listen to the professional golfers, they'll tell you that they'd rather be able to putt than drive 300 yards.
Yeah.
Some of them.
I'm telling you that clown is no joke.
You're gonna get it, clown.
I don't see you laughing now. You're gonna die.
Yeah, that shit was great.
You're gonna die.
It was pretty
You're gonna
funny.
die, clown.
For those unfortunate enough not to have seen Happy Gilmore, please do. It will complete your existence if you have not been blessed enough to watch it. There are a few.
Oh, I hate that clown. The fact that he gets it, just spits his ball out.
Yep. Oh, Skydiver Tanner says, my mind heard butt plug, not putt putt.
Oh.
Okay.
Goodness.
Well, it just yeah, just a tappy tap tap. Skydiver with.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony. Skydiver was.
Well, I was just going to diagnose a skydiver on the basis of his mishearing. You know, the brain, your brain clearly has some hardwired preference into how to parse your stuff. To answer WebBard's question, no, I have not seen Subway Tony in Demon's video. So
What?
I've got no idea. I don't know what he's referring to.
The price is wrong, bitch.
It's-
And then he gets back up.
yeah.
Had enough? No?
Yeah.
Now you've had enough, bitch.
Oh, jeez.
And
Such
you know,
a-
that was when I learned shortly after that man has was a Golden Gloves boxer.
Golden Gloves. Golden
yeah.
Gloves
Holy
box.
shit!
Yeah, Bob Barker was no bitch. I'm telling you, Bob Barker. That was,
Yeah, that's right.
So you headbutted Bob Barker. Who won that fight? Who won that fight, by the way? Happy Gilmore, come on down.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Skydiver Tanner says, diagnose, please. I need to laugh.
That's funny.
Did we lose Tony?
No,
okay.
I've already given my diagnosis. He's just fixated on things that are anally inserted. I mean,
I like how you are able to take everything and elevate it to
all right.
to an acceptable level of conversation. Like, I feel like if I started talking about some of the weirdest, kinkiest pornography bullshit, you'd be able to take that very conversation to your highbrow, high-level PhDs that you work with and make that into an acceptable conversation.
There is something of a skill in being able to express, an issue like coprophagia, for instance, and just have the right technical term for it.
Really?
So even that,
that particular thing you had to say. You couldn't have said something like sarcophagi or something.
Yeah.
It had to be coprophagia.
It had to be coprophagia.
Oh, jeez.
Ah, ah.
I remember.
It's a bit.
I remember watching. There's a video game reviewer that my stepson used to watch. He was very fond. He was very fond of. Who was going on about. Normally, I think of this sort of game as being like sharing dental floss with a coprophage, and I gone. Well, that's a reference that I think most of your audience are going to miss there, mate. But
chew it back.
yeah. Subway Tony was
It is shit. Bit nutty. This coffee tastes like shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Uh,
Oh, man.
Oh. Whew.
That's what happens when you have too much of a good time at the very beginning of the show.
That was a good time. That was a good time.
so, I keep on noticing that there are week in horror things that occur in my feed that don't correspond to last Wednesday's episode. Like I saw a discussion of Scream and the Autopsy of Jane Doe
Nice.
come up as a recent week in horror event of some sort.
Yes, we are uploading all the episodes from season 1 because we didn't start uploading right at the very, very beginning. So that's why
okay.
we call them Tales from the Abyss. Is what's on the thumbnail there, and then that's just all of our old content to make sure we get the all of season 1 up on there. So
okay, all right. So and I was thinking, given the turds you were throwing at the audience last week,
wow,
it kind of David Fincher's made 2 films that I think are okay.
I don't make the movies. I just talk about the movies.
No, but you stood up for Alien Cube, and I've made I warned you what would happen.
No. I'm sorry. Now, I will draw the line here. Yes, I have stood up.
You have been warned.
I have stood up. I have stood up for some crappy films just because I personally enjoy them and I get a kick out of them. Like Hellraiser 3.
Okay.
I acknowledge it's not a good movie at all, but there are things I enjoy about it. But Alien 3, I will defend both as a fan of the franchise and as a filmmaker because the cinematography in that, and I mean, there were some balls dropped. Obviously, the CGI was an issue, and what they did in the storyline, the writing was a real problem. But
I like how you
I will
gloss
defend
over
the thing
that.
as no, I'm not glossing over this. The writing was a real issue. They had major script problems. There were issues with you could see where Fox interfered with what Fincher was trying to do. But I will defend that thing both as a fan and as a filmmaker because the cinematography was fantastic. The camaraderie amongst the actors is fantastic. Sigourney and Charles Dutton were amazing. So was Charles Dance was absolutely amazing. You could tell that they trusted their director and the director trusted them. You could see these things on film. And not to mention just the way they captured, the way they set everything up, and the direction they attempted to take it were all terrific. I loved what they did with it. From a filmmaking perspective, it's actually very, very good.
Okay, so let me respond to that by saying I don't care how good the filmmaking is if it's a crap story, right? There are certain deficiencies, for instance, in the way, say, Escape from New York is put together. You could make that film look better. You could make that film hold together better. But it's a really fun film because it's got an interesting story. You can't just say, well, apart from the story. Yeah, I'm willing to say that the cast did a fantastic job. Cinematographer did a great job. But given the complete bankruptcy of the story, from a strategic scale down to a tactical scale, I don't see that it's redeemable. I view Alien Resurrection as more redeemable, even though it's a crappier film, because there are at least some kernels of things that could, in an alternate universe, where be turned into the basis for an interesting story, like humans being caught between a war between 2 branches of Alien. That's actually a moderately interesting concept. You could turn that into into something that you could hang a movie on. Whereas there was nothing in Alien Cube that you could hang a movie on. That was my problem with it, because basically the characters were in a worse position than the than the group in the original film. And when the alien reaches out of the ceiling and yanks the warden up into the ceiling space with him, the alien is clearly not intimidated by the humans, and it could at that point have just dropped down into the room and killed everybody it didn't like. And the film would have been over. And the only reason it didn't do that was because, well, the film would be over early. So obviously it can't do that. Well, then either, if you're basically holding up the flaws in your own story, either the alien is intimidated by the humans and is trying to wipe them out one by one, which is how it operated in the first film, or, up until the end when it gradually developed enough confidence to take on two at a time, or three at a time, or it isn't intimidated by humans at all, at which point it can just drop into that room and kill everybody, because there was nothing anybody in that room could do about it. Had it dropped down then, it would have just won. And instead, there's this stupidly elaborate plan that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. And it just yes, a bunch of ill-organized, unarmed, ill-organized, ill-disciplined, unintelligent people with no weapons are stuck in a hostile facility with an alien. Well, this is not going to end well for pretty much everybody.
Well, yeah,
because
considering only one of them made it out alive, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the progression was alien and humans both away, both on the away ceremony. More aliens versus more humans, both on the away. The escalation would have been to take humans into take aliens into the humans' home territory, or take a group of humans into the alien home territory. One of the two. But I think that it was just, to me, just from every level of storytelling there, was just bad. There's no suspense here. The alien's going to kill them all. Oh, the alien killed most of them. Well, that's...
I like your dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. Yeah, that was part of that.
That was great. Fantastic story, Dave. Well done, you. I just don't. I was so angry coming out of that film, and not least because I thought that the cast were doing a fantastic job. Don't blame the cast. Don't blame the cinematographer. Shut up, Clive.
I was wondering when you were going to notice that.
Yep. I've got to say that that was my issue with Alien 3, was the story. It was just not good.
You are correct. The story, there was at least, I think, 6, 7. No, we talked about it a lot on the show. There's 7 different scripts that went into that film, and amalgamations all over the place. And the reason that nobody could settle on the story is because Fox didn't know what the hell they wanted. And I'll acknowledge all day long there were massive, massive problems with it. But the script itself functionally still works. It has a first act, a second act, and a third act. It does conclude. It was intended, it was given an ending in case, Sigourney Weaver didn't want to come back for a fourth one. So, functionally the script works because it's 1, 2, 3. It's formulaic filmmaking. That's just how it works. It hits all the highs and hits all the lows that it's supposed to hit in that kind of fashion, especially, we consider Fincher as a director. But their explanations, I already noticed in the chat that they're like, oh, they're talking about this movie again.
Not for long.
Their explanations for everything Tony has grievances with, it just means he does not know the Alien universe very, very well, because the novelization of the film came out shortly after the premiere of the film, which means that the novelization was working at the same time as the actual production itself, and that means they were drawing off the script. And the final script writer, I can't remember his name because there's so many, was working with the author who did the novelization of Alien 3, And the novelization is more in tune with what Fincher wanted. Was like this is what it was supposed to be. So there are a couple of things that are different, like it wasn't a dog, it was an ox, and that actually gave birth to the alien and blah blah blah. But
that matters because
the novel is considered canon, and while there are some slight changes that are done in it, to coincide with what Fincher wanted to do, with what the original idea was.
Retcon bullshit, JL.
It explains some of the actions of the. Okay, so like there's a big ass scene. The cafeteria scene is very easily explained, okay, because the alien is still an alien, but the alien is a dog as well. It's both. Dogs don't attack large groups when they're alone. Dogs will hit and run a large group to go after the weakest one in the group, and then they will take the fuck off if they can get a hand. Just like a coyote will do that. That's canine DNA.
Except that the alien picks on the strongest person in the group, right? It is at the point where the warden is asserting his alpha dominance, where he is actually in a position where he is coordinating a plan, getting people organized, and trying to master their resources. So he is in charge. He is expressing his alpha dominance, and the alien just goes, well, that's the one I want, because that completely destroys the morale of the humans. Well, okay.
Well, here's the issue. Here's the issue, Tony. No. Here's the issue. He was the only one standing up in the scene, and there was already a hole in the ceiling above where he was standing.
That just seems convenient.
No one else was accessible at the time.
That doesn't make it, JL. So there was a case in California where a family were wandering through the woods, and their 8-year-old was lingering behind, and they wandered past this tree. And this mountain lion came out and grabbed the 8-year-old by the skull, dragged it back into the bushes. And they wandered along for a little while, and then they noticed that their 8-year-old was missing. And the mountain lion didn't kill the 8-year-old, just held the 8-year-old still, waiting to see whether or not everybody noticed. And when people noticed, it just pissed off. Didn't try and take the 8-year-old with it. What it didn't do was wait for people to come past, take the 8-year-old from out in front of everybody, and then just decide to run off with it and have lunch, because that's not how predator mindsets work. They don't expose themselves to risk like that.
Predators have higher technology, and they're also bipedal. And I'm making a joke. Sorry.
Stop it. But anyway. old man Roger Murtaugh beat him. So there you go.
Nonetheless, okay. I mean, anything I say, PhD Tony is just going to call it semantics and say that I'm pulling it out of my ass. But I'm a tremendous fan of the franchise. I have read the novelizations of the books. Even in the Aliens novelization, there's a few things that are slightly different because they were in the original script, but Cameron left them out or had to cut them for time or had to make adjustments to the scenes because they, for budgetary restrictions. So yes. Even in that one, there's a few scant little things that are different. Okay, just like in the egg morph scene in the first film.
Yeah,
exactly. So there's varying changes there. But in this particular one, there's explanations for why the alien was doing what it was doing. You understand, and just from that perspective, you can understand what was going on, why it was avoiding Ripley, why it was going after everybody else, why it was only hitting them one at a time, because there is only one of it, and it was, incapacitated.
Yes, but we know that if it had dropped down through the hole there, it would have ripped the entire group apart.
Yeah, but the alien itself doesn't know that. The alien itself does not know that.
Yes, the alien itself should avoid that confrontation.
That's
the
why
alien
that's why it only snagged one.
Well, how does it know that they can't pursue it up through the opening and rip it apart?
Because it's been tracking them and tailing them all this time.
That doesn't provide evidence that they can't do this. the whole reason that the alien in the first film tracked down people and took them out one at a time was because it had no, even though it was physically larger, it had no real idea of their capabilities. And while the justifications for ignoring all of this may exist, but I don't buy them. I understand that that you can come up with some moderately plausible, for the gullible and weak-minded, apparently.
Oh, that's uncharitable. That's uncharitable.
Well, I'm going to throw that out there to somebody who thinks, oh, well, Tony didn't understand the film. Because he didn't read he didn't because he didn't read the fucking book that came out. Well, you know what? I expect the stuff that's in the film to justify the film to me.
Tony,
I don't expect it to be hidden. I don't expect it to be hidden in some other goddamn book that that was written by some no-name also ran who apparently is into David Fincher's bullshit. It doesn't make sense. It's not good storytelling, and nothing you can say will change my mind.
Tony, you didn't need to read the book to understand it. You just had to have a fundamental understanding of the entire franchise, which apparently you don't.
Well,
I had it going in. I was able to watch the movie and understand everything that was going on, why it was doing what it was doing. Influenced by both its relationship with Ripley and its relationship with the space, and that its priority is to protect Ripley and build a hive at the same time.
You were able to shut down enough of your critical faculties to accept that the script was adequate. I am not as capable of turning off portions of my brain. As you evidently are, for the benefit of enjoying a film. I would go into a film with my critical faculties turned on, and I don't turn them off regardless of the franchise. In fact, if anything, I try to be very cognizant of the shortcomings of films that I might have a partiality towards.
Tony went to the theater, saw Dante's Inferno, was like, that's not how that works. He's like grabbing some stranger next to him. Don't you understand that actual magma flow doesn't perform that way? What is it, sentient bullshit? What is the volcano trying to kill them?
Well, I didn't watch Dante's Inferno in the cinema, so there was nobody standing next to me when
or else that would have happened. That's exactly what would have happened.
I tend to actually think less of my fellow man. If they can't see how stupid it is just sitting there, me explaining to them isn't going to convince them, as this conversation amply demonstrates.
Fucking shots.
You know what? I'm sorry you don't have any imagination. I'm sorry that you've given up this aspect of your life, and I'm sorry that you cannot suspend your disbelief to enjoy one fucking movie in your twilight years. Okay, so
wow,
I'm gonna go ahead.
So what we have here?
Now he fired the first shots. I fired the last one. I'm laying down arms, baby.
What we have here, we have J.L. Cratchit Warren saying, "Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge," and we've got PhD Scrooge McDuck singing, "Bah, humbug."
I do not hate films. I love
Oh Jesus! My goodness.
I went to buy a film the other day. What was it? It was The Invisible Man. I bought a copy of The Invisible Man. Yes, the new one. Yeah, because I thought that's a really good film. I actually quite like that.
Very good.
Wait a minute.
I saw something.
Wait a minute. Mm-hmm. There's no technology to make that happen. How could you appreciate that film?
That's a damn good
well,
question, Tony. This is just
You will,
bullshit.
you will notice you will notice that my problem with aliens was not that we don't have interstellar transport technology. My problem with Alien Cubed was somewhat more fundamental than that. So I will grant a film, the miracles it needs to function. My problem comes when it starts requiring more and more miracles to work, because I've already given you a couple of miracles here. You were already on the bad side from just killing off Hicks and Newt in the the opening scene,
in the opening crawl, not even the scene. God,
and for all intents and purposes, you killed off Bishop as well, even though he does get to splutter out a few lines before getting flamethrowered. But you just any goodwill I was there is no reason, and I've had this argument with Mandevil, there's no good reason for a parasite to ingest or modify itself in response to the DNA, in response to the physical configuration of its host. What if its host happens to be a slug?
It
right?
can't be.
I mean,
it can't be.
That's why not?
Because the animal that's hosting it has to be comparable in size to be able to host the egg. So it's got to be
yes,
at least.
What if it's a large slug?
Well, if it is a big giant slug, then it could do that. But then that would come out. You realize that there's an entire that Dark Horse Comics has run this. That there are planets out there that have all kinds of weird fucking aliens on them because the predators used to run around and seed planets with these things so that they go and hunt them later. And they would see different planets with different organisms on it to get different variations of the alien.
So a comic book writer came up with it. Therefore, it must be a great scientifically valid idea.
Dark Horse Comics bought the rights to both Aliens and Predator and Terminator and a bunch of other ones.
And
as well,
that is somehow relevant to what I just said.
It's expanded the canon.
Yes.
Last time Tony expanded the canon, there was a bunch of interns that did not like the results.
Yeah. So, the question is not whether or not it's canon. The question to my mind is whether or not it makes a lick of fucking sense.
Whether or not I like it at all.
Well, whether or not I think it makes any sense whatsoever. And the fact that you think stuff makes sense, obviously there's a difference between what you think makes sense and what I think makes sense. And all I can say is that if it falls outside of what I think makes sense, given the axiomatic, miraculous events that have been required to create the plot, then I'm happy. But if it doesn't make sense out of that, then I'm unhappy.
Let me ask you a
Alien
question.
Q to make me unhappy.
Let me ask you a question. Do you find it difficult to suspend disbelief? I'm being serious here. This is a legitimate question.
It depends on the film. So, for instance, I spent the entire film of The Matrix thinking that he was being lied to. Whatever the Lawrence Fishburne's character's
Morpheus
was just Morpheus was
Can't
just
even remember
bullshit.
his name.
Don't care that much.
That's perfect answer.
There is no way. There is no way that using humans as batteries makes a lick of sense. It's a thermodynamic impossibility. You will lose energy keeping humans alive. You cannot generate energy by feeding humans. It just isn't. It just won't happen. It's a thermodynamic impossibility. Further, the claim that there is a city at the core mental boundary is so incredibly physically implausible. that whoever wrote it cannot know what they're even talking about.
You do know that. I mean, just throw it out there. It's not to be snarky or anything, but the way the movie was presented, the first one, is not the way the Wachowskis wrote it. That the changes made to it, concepts about Zion and the human battery thing like this, those were all Warner Brothers interfering, because the original concept of what the Wachowski sisters wanted to do was not the copper top thing. Warner Brothers thought that their concept was too complicated, and that humans wouldn't get it, and that they did the battery thing because it was more easily explainable, and so they made them rewrite that to do the battery thing because the audiences will get that a little bit easier than trying to explain the machines needed needed a network, and they were using humans for their computational ability, not for power. And the idea was that humans were all linked. That the Matrix was designed as for a way for the human. Oh, what?
Time out. You mean to tell me that the idea was to use humans who produce such amazing computative minds like Nathan Thompson to run their algorithms? Yeah, I would have demanded they rewrite that fucking script too.
The idea was that the machines needed additional computational power because the machines themselves. Because
I heard what you said.
Yeah, in the original script, the humans had cut off the machines from being able to basically build more, and this was all explained in the Animatrix as well. Is that the machines got to the point where they really couldn't make any more of themselves. They could use their dead and kind of like break apart and use their parts, but they really couldn't expand their race anymore. So they had finite computational power, and so in order to expand that computational power, they basically needed human beings networked together in order to use our brains for what they are. And they basically use a small section of our brain to project the Matrix into to keep us under control, and the rest of the brain was running their shit, was basically their RAM, and that was the whole point of it. But Warner Brothers was like, people are not going to get that. That isn't making it takes too long to explain. Just say that they're using them for power. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
because
I don't
they're
think
using them for power versus they're using them for RAM speed would have taken that much longer.
I don't particularly think that is a phenomenally compelling adjustment to the script.
They were utilizing humans, our networked human brains for additional computational power. I mean, it makes more sense. The brain.
It makes more sense, but really, you can't you have not at any stage developed the ability to code a machine that is not that is not free of the constraints that the humans have coded into it. Like, you can't write your own code that doesn't limit the machine in how they can build. I mean, that it seems like there's a bit of a workaround, or you can pay a human. It just doesn't. To me, it doesn't work. But obviously, we're going to disagree here as violently as we did with Alien 3. But just.
Oh, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it makes the. I'm saying that's what the Wachowskis intended, and Warner Brothers totally was like, no one's going to get. You have to explain computers and explain how this works and explain why the machines need to do it, and it's like, no, the machines need power because we blocked out the sun, so they hooked all the humans up so they could draw power off them. There you go. So
yeah, well, I mean, it does that is thermodynamically impossible. It cannot. Yeah. You cannot make a profit out of doing it.
Thinking about what you just said, JL, I think there was a really easy way to add that exposition in there, and it could have been done really well with Agent Smith.
Agent Smith, yeah.
It would have been really simple during that whole interrogation scene, where, because he does break character and he does go off into this little tangent about how, when it makes Neo's face melt and whatnot. there could have been that little. He could have gone off on an easily explainable tangent where he tells him the whole plot of the movie, basically about the humans are the ones, and we need you to plug yourself back into little ram slots, whatever. Some sort of sinister way of explaining that bullshit, and we'd have been done with it.
Yeah, there's one way. I would have liked it if.
Don't you?
No. I'm just no. I'm not. I just would have liked it if they had split up a little bit more. That the humans as a whole were more deceived than they thought that they were, and that that would have been another level of control, which would have been interesting. Is how much of the narrative do the humans have, and that whatever Morpheus was given them, that was only half the truth that Morpheus was given, because that was what he was allowed to give Neo in order to perpetuate, the process that they have. And the concept, and that Agent Smith during his break would have revealed that to Morpheus, broken Morpheus's paradigm. Then in the sequel, Morpheus has to break Neo's paradigm, and so on and so forth. And I thought that would have been a little bit narratively better, because you have his paradigm is broken when he's pulled out. Then Morpheus is giving him all this truth. Then Morpheus encounters Agent Smith. Agent Smith breaks contact with the system and goes, "Now I'm going to break your paradigm." And Morpheus is like, "Oh fuck!" And then Morpheus got to do it to Neo, and then we keep going through layers of control. And I thought that would have been much more interesting to see how deep. Where's the truth? Everyone keeps lying to everybody else, and then to find out that Smith himself is being lied to. That there's layers of control in order to ensure that whoever's up at the top, like the architect or whatever, is that their ends are being met, and that everyone is being used to a particular end. So, and I thought,
isn't that kind of how it ends, right? So they say basically the God versus the devil complex, because we're not too stupid to figure that one out. But then they figure out, hey, we'll just whoever wants to leave can leave, whoever wants to stay can stay. And then what they kind of did.
How long do you think this peace will last?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was a shitty series, by the way. I did not like The Matrix.
One of the things that I spent the entire film going, okay, well, Morpheus is just bullshitting this guy, and he's going to get him to do something dangerous and destructive based on this fantasy, and it's going to turn out that that Morpheus was bullshitting him. I thought that was, and then it got to the end of the film, and I felt like Mr. Burns after in an episode, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns is negotiating with Homer, and at the end of it, he just, Homer is just being a complete idiot and goes, "I may have overestimated my opponent." That's certainly how I felt at the end of. So none of this makes any fucking sense whatsoever, and it was just a movie for transporting bits of cool action to to the screen.
I mean, essentially, that's really all it was. There was no real deep. They tried to be this deep not motivation, but this deep meaning film and all this shit, and it's like, come on, man. Everybody just wanted to see Neo do a couple of weird little bullet dodges and running up buildings and stupid shit. So
yeah, all of the deeper philosophical stuff was brushed aside in favor for the action, to keep people coming back to see like bullet time and people doing wacky crazy stunts and shit like that, which is a shame. I mean I found them entertaining. The third one really pushed my limit. I was they pulled what worked from the second one, pulled what worked from the first one, and then just kind of melted them together. I don't fucking know.
Wait a second.
Can you
So Nerd Angle says Darth Dawkins is here. What?
No, then Nerd Angle said $10 says JL Warren tried to @ Darth Dawkins, and I didn't, because that's not his YouTube name.
No, it's
unfortunately.
It's @dumbass. That would be his YouTube name.
It's actually
now you can tell people I called you a dumbass.
It's actually @Evolution Falls.
Well, I said it right, @dumbass. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's interesting. Just to digress, because I know people are going like, "Oh, these fucking movies, movie talk." Something interesting that Nerd Angle brought that up to try and get me. There was some interesting information on the Darth
tell us your Darth Dawkins story.
He was recently embarrassed, wholly embarrassed by two individuals, by King Xerxes, who is an excellent philosopher. He's on Discord a lot. I believe he's also a police officer. He's a deputy, and I've never met, and it's quite cool. I've never met a deeply philosophical deputy, which is pretty neat. We've had some excellent conversations, and he's cleared up a few things that I didn't really understand in both philosophy and in its application to, or I would say the bringing it together with like physics and understanding the real world. The mentality is that, metaphysics, it kind of guides, but epistemology grounds. So it's good to have an eye on a target, but be sure you're grounded by the evidence of what we can test, what's around you. So King Xerxes embarrassed the shit out of him. It was hilarious, and it was
people
great.
Like metaphysics because it's a big word they can throw around that most people don't understand.
Probably, yeah.
I'm being 100% serious there.
Well, because metaphysics is essentially an abstract, and abstracts are just basically conjured. They're just it's imagination. And when someone says that God is metaphysical, it's like, is God is imaginary, which is in essence what you're saying. He's the metaphysical primary. He's the imaginary primary. Is that what you do? And so
no.
No. Shooter McGavin. No.
See, we can reference our older jokes. We're good like that.
And so King Xerxes embarrassed shit of him. There's a hilarious video out there, and I want to point a direction. There is a channel called Darth Dawkins Debunked, and it's all caps, just Darth Dawkins Debunked. And he released a video. It's just a really, really quick clip. It's just moments. Darth was in the middle of a debate with King Xerxes. King Xerxes was kicking his ass with this argument that I actually want to run by Tony and see what he thinks. And in the middle of it, when Xerxes just countered him, like straight countered him, you hear in the background Darth's mom, Gary. And then a few moments after that, he's like, I'm not backing away. I have a dinner appointment, but I will return. I'm not running. I have something I have to go to. And so
that's hilarious.
We can't confirm it, but we think his mom was calling him to dinner.
That's exactly what happened.
This 60-year-old man is like, Gary. And so he leaves, and he was gone for like 20 minutes. That's it. Like he was gone for 20. Like he actually left. He was gone for 20 minutes, and we were all waiting. He said, I'll be back. He's like, I'll be back. Well, and so we're all waiting for him. And then he comes back, but he doesn't enter the room. And he goes into his room because in this particular Discord server, he has his own room, the Atheist Helpline. In that room, he's God. He's like the train man in Matrix 3. In that particular room, he makes all the rules. He has all the mallet power, blah, 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 blah. He steps out of that room. He does not have that power. There's other room owners that, and other mods that he has to deal with. So, but in that room, he's God. So he just went into that room and just fucking sat there. And Xerxes can't follow him because if he does, he'll be automatically banned. And I can't go in there because I'll be automatically banned. So he pretty much just went back there. He did not re-engage Xerxes. He just went there to sulk or do whatever, or to basically rant to his sycophants of how he kicked Xerxes' ass, which he actually did not.
Yeah.
The other one was he got into a debate with another YouTuber named Tom Rabbit. And I want to point people to that guy's channel, because if you find the Darth Dawkins experience tertiarily entertaining, just just as a bystander, go check out Tom Rabbit's channel. It's RABBITTT. Check out Tom Rabbit's channel. There's so much content there that will make you laugh, make you hate this individual. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. But definitely go check out his channel. But he engaged in a debate with Darth and embarrassed him wholly by basically using Darth's definitions and using Darth's tactics against him. And basically, whenever Darth was doing a thing, he would use he was like, Darth, I'm asking you a question. You need to focus. You seem to have this inability to focus. You need to focus on the question that I'm asking. And that would just aggravate Darth. He'd get all emotional and start getting triggered and stuff. And it's just funny. But it was an excellent argument. Tom was presenting this. Peter Collins is Darth Dawkins in the cube? I wish he was in the cube. I'd like to put him in the cube. The idea is this: if God exists, then I would believe in him. Premise one: if God exists, then I would believe in it. Premise 2, I do not believe in God. Premise 3, or conclusion, God does not exist.
Well, I take issue with premise 1.
It's valid. Because if
What do you
God did
mean,
exist, I
valid?
would believe in it.
Would you?
Well, yes, because with existence comes implication. That's the
validity of the statement. The validity of the logical statement does work. It's the soundness that doesn't work.
Well, I mean, if you take the implication of existence, if I say that a thing exists, then it has to meet certain qualia. So that to determine that it has the state of existence. So the thing either exists or it does not exist. So if God exists, and if we can say that to be true, this is true that God exists, then yes, I would believe in it because we would then have been able to demonstrate that it exists. I do not believe in God, therefore God does not exist.
So, I mean, I think you're running into, again, I don't think that you should try to use logic.
Well, keep in mind, this is Tom Rabbit, so just throwing it out there.
Okay, so there are a number of reasons why an individual may not believe in a God, even though a God exists. For instance, that God may have cursed them. They may not be able to perceive that God. The God may be imperceptible given the tools available at that point in time and space. And the
point is made out something that may be my fault because I may have dropped it. Tom was using this syllogism to debate when he was debating Darth because it's Darth's definition of it. It's because Darth's definition of God is that God is self-revelatory, that he reveals himself to everyone, and so we have no choice but to know. But we are just, according to him, I think it's like Romans 1:13 or something like that. But in the book of Romans, basically state that we are simply denying or suppressing the truth in unrighteousness. But
that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, that's the counter to this.
He's using Dawkins' argument against him.
Exactly, he was using his definition against it.
You're okay. So with the addition of several other axioms that aren't in evidence in the original argument, then yes, you can make that. Though I have to say that even so, sorry, what was the first one? If God existed, I would believe in him.
If God exists, I would believe in him.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I would still hate him. But
bad Bible is correct, or bad Bible is correct. It's wholly an internal critique.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. And Tom handled it brilliantly. Now, it's not the argument that I use because I don't accept any definition for God because the concept itself I don't think humans could define appropriately. Given if God is supposed to be an objective being, we are subjective creatures. How can we possibly provide a subjective definition to a thing that is objective? That's just kind of my take on it. I don't think any definition really works, so I don't accept any definition of God as being correct because I don't believe the thing exists. But my concept is that was the importance of logic in this respect. So in essence, you have the laws of logic. You have the classical laws of logic, and from there, all logical languages and other logics are derived from this. You have the three basic, the classic laws: the law of excluded middle, the law of non-contradiction, and the law of identity. So when you state that the thing exists, like when you make the distinction that between existence and non-existence, between being and not being, you invoke the laws of logic. You invoke all three because they're all interdependent. So the thought was this, and this is what Xerxes was cluing me into, and why he kind of expanded my thought process on this, or gave me a way to articulate it, was God either exists or does not exist. So let's say if God exists. So if God exists, is God a logical being? Does God comport with the laws of logic? Okay. Does he comport with the laws of logic? Does he not comport with the laws of logic? So if he comports with the laws of logic, then he is a logical being. That means that he creates and is governed by the laws of logic. Okay, that because the laws of logic are there, so he must create by the laws of logic. So God cannot make a one-ended stick. God cannot make a square circle. Okay, so if this is the case, then the laws of logic transcend God. They are that God is bound by the laws of logic. He cannot make something. He cannot make a logical contradiction. So that means I all I have to do is appeal to the laws of logic and the universe itself, because the universe itself is an ontology. Like the universe, the isolated system, is an ontology for everything. Everything is created within the universe. The universe, if there was no universe, nothing would exist. Therefore, the universe is everything. So all I have to do is, if I'm looking for the ontology of a thing, I just appeal to the universe, and I'm looking for the reason things exist the way they are, the laws of logic, because things exist by the laws of logic. And then you add in the laws of physics and various other things to describe things further. But all I need is the universe and the logic. God is unnecessary, because it's just an unnecessary step to take when trying to determine the ontology of a thing or the reason why a thing exists the way it is. Now, on the counter, God is an illogical being. God exists outside the laws of logic. He merely utilizes the laws of logic to interact with the universe or to create the universe or whatever. But he himself does not. That means that God, being an illogical being, the laws of logic do not apply. God can both exist and not exist simultaneously. And by logical determination, this is an incoherent statement. These two things cannot exist, because we have to be able to make a distinction between the two. If they can both exist simultaneously, then it's incoherent. And then in order to get coherency back, we have to appeal back to the universe, back to the laws of logic.
So I mean, there are multiple points at which I feel that chain of reasoning could be challenged. For instance, the the fact that wave functions can pass through both slits until you put a detector there in the double slit experiment, for instance. When you say that either this is true of God or the other is true of God, well, that may be true if you put a detector there, but it may change if you don't have a detector at the right spot, right point. And just because God is not bound by the laws of logic doesn't mean that he has to obey the exist and non-exist at the same time. He could not be bound by the laws of logic in other ways, or the laws of physics in other ways. And I mean, and also you've got this Gödel's incompleteness theorem states that there are particular statements, the truth value of which cannot be determined. So you can easily say that God's when God makes something in relation to himself, can he create a rock he can't live? That's a statement that would fall in assuming the existence of God. That's a statement that would fall in Gödel's incompleteness theorem. That statement, the truth value of that statement is not binary; it's indeterminate. So there are a number of ways I think I don't think that trying to make an ironclad argument that God doesn't exist is the way to go. But what you were saying earlier about God is not necessary, I think that's an entirely appropriate way.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously, just like, the concept of hard solipsism, there is no defeater for it. I can't, there's nothing out there to be like, headshot, God does not exist. But we can do a critique of it. And depending upon what, things are applied to God, or what attributes are given to the God, because that's where I was coming at from a particular perspective look at the attributes of a thing, because how do we define it? That's why the definition is so important. And I think that there are versions of God, I would say definitions of God, that have particular attributes that can be easily knocked down. This way you have described it, this being with these attributes, this cannot exist, not in this universe. If this thing did exist, there would be catastrophic, there's catastrophic implications as to how reality fundamentally works. And
Yeah.
so I think those are easily knocked down. Now, if you want to say that you believe in a faceless, nameless, sufficiently powerful enough to create everything deity that left no evidence of itself after it kicked the football in the universe, and that's it, like deism, just like just straight up deism, yeah, I have no shoot down for that. It's like you can believe in that, you know. It's like I believe in
You can
unicorns, but
believe
they're all
in whatever you want to believe in. Just don't ask me to do it.
exactly. That's where it all is. When a person's beliefs begin to interject on other person's lives and other people's lives. But yeah, I was awesome that Xerxes was able to enable me to, or have to help me articulate that a little bit better, because I've been dancing around that idea that, modally in modal logic, in all possible worlds, the laws of logic must apply regardless if there is a God or not. And God can create any world that he wants. The laws of logic must still apply to those, because we still must have to make a distinction between existence and non-existence. If there is a distinction between those, and then all three classical laws of logic apply in all possible worlds. You can go even simpler. If there are propositions in any possible world, those propositions are either true or false. To make that determination, you must have the laws of logic in order to say that this thing is true, that this thing is false. And if the laws of logic apply to every single possible world that God could possibly make, that's an argument towards that the laws of logic transcend this being, because he can only operate by them. He can only create by them. He cannot violate his nature.
So the three fundamental premises that you mentioned before are not sufficient to construct a logical system, right? I think you need a larger axiomatic set than what you described.
For which one?
You had the law of excluded middle, the law of identity, and
I'm sorry. Every time you guys say law of excluded middle, I just hear that fucking monotone PKA piece of shit.
Yeah. The law of I can't even do it. Was he Australian?
Law of excluded
Yeah, he was.
middle.
Law of excluded. That's very Cockney. Well, I mean, they're not.
You have a particular.
We have these.
You have another particular.
Things operate by the laws of logic. I mean, they're descriptive of the universe, but the laws of logic, determine what can and cannot be. Like, the difference between, like what is possible, what is impossible, is determined by the laws of logic, because a thing is the way it is, and it is not equal to this thing over here. And then, of course,
yeah. So I'm not sure that I would agree even with that statement. So if I adopt a given axiomatic set that is non-degenerate, which is to say a degenerate axiomatic set can be used to prove anything. In other words, I've got P and not P, and therefore I can conclude anything. But if you have too many axioms in your axiomatic set, then your axiomatic set will be degenerate. So basically you need a restricted axiomatic set in order to have a meaningful language. But having adopted an axiomatic set, there will be statements whose truth or false value cannot be determined given that axiomatic set. So the blanket statement that you can determine whether or not something is possible or impossible from an axiomatic set, or from and there's another layer, because you're determining what is logically possible and what is logically impossible, as opposed to what is physically possible and what is physically impossible.
Well, no, you're right. You're right. It's like I can't jump. Oh, it's like there's no logical reason why I can't jump to the moon right now. Like I go outside and jump to the moon. It's not. It doesn't break the laws of logic. It's the laws of physics that determine that I cannot do that. So yeah. I'm just going to the base.
I need to go away I need to step away for a second, but I will be able to hear you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm just referencing. I'm appealing back to the. I thought he had those astronaut diapers on.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to change them.
But yeah, what I'm appealing back is to It's just the foundation of, like, what if we were to reference an ultimate, say that there's an ultimate thing out there. Now, I would say that the most ultimate thing that we could possibly demonstrate would be the universe in and of itself, the isolated system that we all exist in. So, being that there's no other system that we know of, it's just, yeah, that's why we call it an isolated system. It is the universe. Then we can appeal to that. The universe does exist. It is a thing that we can demonstrate. It is everything. It is all matter, energy, and physical information within it. So, done. Now, why are things the way they are? At a base value, we can say
because
the laws of
reasons.
logic. The laws of logic. And from there, then we can go to the 4 fundamental forces, and then we can go to the laws of physics, and then so on and so forth. These are all things that we can demonstrate. That's what's important. There is evidence for all of it. We can demonstrate it all. We don't need to go a step further because the universe doesn't provide, the universe itself, the isolated system, provides the ontology for everything that's out there. The universe, the 4 fundamental forces, the laws of physics, and so on and so forth, and then metaphysically, the laws of logic. The descriptors, the descriptors that we use to when we observe the universe, saying A equals A. A is not equal to not
Okay.
A.
Okay, so
I have to say, I have to interrupt really quick and say that we have a very disturbing message in the side chat. I've been asked to put this up, so give me a minute. You guys continue, but here in a second, I'm going to add something that is extremely important to this.
My retort would be that you cannot determine why the universe is the way it is from the laws of logic. Okay? The laws of logic will not tell you that, and indeed, I don't see that you can determine why some things are the way they are. Why do particular, why do certain fundamental constants have the values that they do? I don't think that there's necessarily a strong reason that we're going to be able to determine. I think that a lot of the factors that might determine the fabric are simply beyond our capacity to observe and adequately explain. So yeah.
All right.
I think.
Let's see. Wrote no less name asked question: can God violate the laws of logic? If so, then laws of logic are not immutable. This is true. If God can violate them, that is true. God can make a one-ended stick. God could make a married bachelor. So, but the problem with that is that if the laws of logic are transcended by God, if God exists and God is above the laws of logic and it's simply a tool that he uses, then God itself is not comported by the laws of logic. God can both exist and not exist at the same time because the laws of logic don't apply to God. Okay? So if the laws of logic don't apply to the being, then the being technically can exist and not exist at the same time, which means the theist position and the atheist position are both confirmed and invalidated simultaneously. This is an incoherent statement. The conversation is over. And then, so where do we reference back to? We reference back to the universe and the laws of logic because that is what we can demonstrate.
All right. So I have put up this extremely important message.
Oh, shit. That's a ransom note.
It is.
Can't even read that.
It says, "Dear reader, we have your eyebrow, Franklin. If you ever want to see Franklin's safe return, we request the amount of $1 million. $1
million dollars. I don't know if anybody remembers the big hit with Marky Mark.
I do remember the big hit with Marky Mark.
Feel it.
There's more. Apparently, there are more. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of ransom notes. Jeebus. I think Crafty Keela has some explaining to do. Let's see. Here's the other one. It says you have 1 week to pay the amount in unmarked bills. Otherwise, every hour on the hour. What the hell? After the time limit has been reached, we will pick one. one eyebrow hair at a time until Franklin has been. Oh, Jesus.
I'm with Mr. Millord on this. I'm actually there's references here I'm not getting. What the fuck is Franklin?
You guys.
So Franklin
wait,
is
we
the
should ask
name.
Craft Tequila to explain Franklin.
Okay, the reason I know is I'm assuming this is referencing Craft Tequila's earlier stream, correct?
No.
Not
No.
quite.
Okay, so I'm totally in the dark. Please illuminate my situation.
Illuminate.
Illuminate. Deluminate.
Yay! Sometime on what we can hopefully agree is the past. An individual named Tusk, I believe, made the first ever donation, super chat to Craft Tequila's newly monetized channel, and in doing so, he claimed the right to name Keela's right eyebrow Franklin.
Okay.
Hello,
well, only if you
friends.
believe in A theory.
My name is Franklin.
Not funny. Okay, gotcha.
It's Keela. In 30 years, I will be 33. Obviously, it's true, because if not, it wouldn't be spoken in proper Irish.
Yes, that's right. I think the fact that it is a well-known fact that the Irish write phonetically in exactly that fashion.
Okay, I don't get the whole film thing. There's no U in film. Because I've heard both Crafty say it and I have heard Irish say it.
Just because there's no you in film doesn't mean we can't aspire to be in film. Okay. Golly, JL, stop shitting on people.
Have you ever seen? Did you? So, if I said the name Lamsey to you, would you know who I was referring to?
Say it again.
Lamsey. So
Lambsy?
there was a Hanna-Barbera character called Lamsey, who was constantly being chased by a wolf. And whenever the wolf was approaching, he would say, "It's the wolf! It's the wolf!"
Yes, I do recall.
Okay, so the Irish people take the same attitude to film.
They're all a bunch of sheep?
Apparently so. That is obviously
what you were saying.
I'm going to suggest that if that is the syllogism you leapt to, perhaps you should abandon your attempts.
You're the one that said it, man. I'm just pointing it out.
To utilize formal logic.
I think it's that Aussie nationalism.
Wow.
I think you're thinking you're better than everybody else. You think? Just a little?
I think it's that PhD
There's
nationalism.
There's no thinking about it.
You went to university in Australia. Come on, really? We're gonna.
Did you go to university in Australia? I thought you went to university in somewhere else.
No.
Yeah, he went to Phoenix.
Okay.
Phoenix.
I went to.
Sure wasn't Patriot U. Sure wasn't Patriot University.
I went to the Australian National University.
It's like the Vegas name for a school. I went to the Australian school.
I went to the Australian school in Australia.
That was brilliant. Australian National School. That was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Good stuff.
Look at PhD Tony back there, just stewing, waiting for the day that we all meet up. So
He didn't like my A theory of time joke. Come on, because he was like,
No.
hopefully it's in the past. He was like, it's not if it's A, not if it's A theory, baby. And he was like, you're fucking stupid. And I was like, I'm just gonna hang my head in shame. I thought it was a good joke. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm actually a B theorist. But hey, anyway.
Is that because you got?
No. It's just, are you familiar with A theory or philosophy of time? A theory, B theory.
I mean, I read about it once, and I gave it about as much attention as I thought it was due.
Okay, well, it's incredibly boring and it's
Exactly.
pointless because not like we could demonstrate either one of it. So
Exactly.
I'm not going to bore the chat with it. So nonetheless, but it's different ways of looking at time. It's pretty much all it is.
Crafty, that's just mean.
JL triggered. What did I say? oh no! The fact that I pointed out that PhD Tony was calling Irish people sheep.
What?
Oh, this is the part where PhD Tony doesn't get butthurt and cry for 3 hours because he's being picked on.
Jeez. My goodness.
I'm just gonna say it. It's like that penguin meme.
My goodness.
So Clive Wells is on top of what the Australian National University is.
Is the top university in Oz?
Oz, yeah.
Well, I have no doubt.
It's one of the top 10 universities in the world. So, I'm sure that whatever, establishment you got your undergraduate qualifications from,
wow,
is doubtless competitive.
Wow.
I have no doubt that you went to a stellar university, whichever one you went to. I don't know which one you went to, but
I just told you, Australia National University.
I don't think that's the name. That's the biggest fucking name you could come up with.
Well, I think you're missing the broader. You see, this is.
Holy
I
shit,
get
that is the
accused
name
of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a real university. Dale.
No, I thought he was literally just. I didn't think he wanted to tell everybody what school he went to, but I was like, he was just coming up with like some vague name, Australian National University. Well, it's not like the whatever. But I was like,
if I may finish, you're missing the broader picture. This makes me an Australian National University student. Make the acronym.
Yeah, I know. It makes you an anus. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay, well, I feel like I'm having to hold JL's hand through this, but
I got it. Okay, but I already knew you were an asshole.
Yes, well, I make no secret of that. I will, again, it's like you're just laying down the truth here. I'm a dick and an asshole.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Because
just
of
wait
your.
Till it makes the
wait a second.
Ouroboros.
Wait a minute. Because of your accent, that sounded like you said, "I am a dick and an asshole."
And.
Okay.
But if you want them, if you want to go that way.
I am a dick and an asshole. Anyway, but seriously, when I'm not familiar with the colleges or the universities in Australia, and when you said I went to the Australian National University, that is so fucking vague. It was just like the vaguest names you could probably give to a university. It's like the United States College.
I was going to say, was that Coming to America? I go to the University of the United States.
The University of the United States. We are a very small school. We do not even have a football team.
Basketball team. Yeah.
A basketball team. So, but yeah, it was like Australian National University. Okay, but apparently I'm looking at it, I was like, holy shit, there is an Australian National University.
Joke's on you, it's a real place.
And it's full of anuses.
Yes, lots
it
of
is
anuses.
full of
I'm
anuses.
surrounded by assholes.
You see that place? It's full of wankers.
Wankers.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And now Clive Wells is referencing a famous Monty Python skit about the philosophy department of the University of Wagga Wagga, I think.
Crafty says, I went to the
Crafty
National
Keeler.
University of Ireland. Why are all these countries so full of themselves have a National University of? Like, we don't have that in the States. We don't have a National University of the United States.
No, we don't.
We have prestigious places like Princeton, Harvard, University of Women.
Is it Woolloomooloo?
There were other, like MIT.
Yeah.
Brown. Grambling.
Taking the Browns
Yeah,
to the Super Bowl.
what does MIT stand for?
Massachusetts Institute of
Technology.
Yeah. We have a CIT, the Canberra Institute of Technology. It's where you go to learn to be a chef, right?
That's hilarious. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you Canberrans.
That's because the U.S. is pretentious. Are you fucking kidding me? Crafty. That's like the opposite. That would make you pretentious. We have the National University of Ireland.
Oh, you with your Harvards and your fucking Yales and
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
You know, I could have gone to Harvard.
Skydiver Tanner says, I went to University of North Dakota. I made the mistake of making a Yahoo account that was _boy. UND_boy. That's hilarious. Crafty is a nuisance. I mean, a new NUIS. Sorry, my bad.
Harvard is in MA. You pronounced it right. Yep. Harvard. Yep.
Harvard.
Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Harvard.
Going to Harvard?
Go down to the ad.
See my khakis?
See, when they say it like that, we don't know if he means pants or if it's car keys.
You see my khakis? You mean my khakis?
Harvard is just discount Cambridge.
Tony, you can laugh, man. You can hide the smile. No, it's like, no, I can't do it.
Nope, the need to not have a uniform standard or third level education is pretentious as fuck. Huh?
Harvard is just a discount Cambridge, a poor copy of the original. The sad fucking thing is Clive Wells is right. You can literally, true, I mean, unlike Princeton, like some other universities, you can literally just buy your way into Harvard now. Harvard means absolutely shit.
Hey.
No, you can. It didn't used to be that way, but these days you can just buy your way into Harvard. Like you can go to Harvard and you're just rich and you're good to go. You don't have to earn your way in.
That's true.
Not anymore.
Well, but those who do earn their way. Okay, so I didn't know this at the time. I didn't do my due diligence, but I had the opportunity to go to Harvard. I could have gone and received the same, well, not the same education, but a similar education that I did receive and paid a fraction of the price that I paid to go to where I went.
Oh, really?
Because of their industry program. They have such good, they have such a deep pocket because their coffers are so full of rich people money that I would have qualified for their industry program and they would have paid basically my entire tuition.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know how to do my due diligence.
Okay, well, that's a shame.
It is a shame.
Because
I could be a pretentious snob too.
Well, you think about that. You think about little things like that. Go ahead, Tony.
You know, there's only room for one pretentious snob on this panel. Thank you, Johnny, and I'll thank you to remember your place.
I do. Stay in your lane. I am staying in my lane, Tony.
Know your place.
Okay. Well, I'm saying I'm the pretentious asshole. So
yes.
It's interesting to think about that because like small little things, like little changes, like how vastly different. Obviously, if you had gone there and done that, we wouldn't be doing this now. Yeah,
that's not predetermined.
I don't think it is, but I think the odds would be. We could say that certain events taking place in a particular pattern, things kind of led to this point. But I could say that if you had, most likely you wouldn't be living in Texas because you would have gone there, and that probably would have because you never went to Harvard.
Right.
You were never living in the area, and you never would have moved somewhere else to go to a job that Harvard got you. So you're here in Texas, which is you didn't have that opportunity, so you never left. So being here in Texas, your opportunities were in Texas. I happen to be in Texas, and we run in the kind of the same circles. We find out we know mutual people. Eventually, we would have probably run into one another.
Mhm.
Had you gone to Harvard, the odds of that dropped precipitously, especially if you had not come back to Texas until after I had left when I'm moving to Oklahoma. So there was a small window that we could have run into each other, and we did, just because by virtue of you staying here.
Well, but
Just
there's
like,
something to be said that if I'd gone to Harvard, you may not be even moving to Oklahoma.
also possible, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like something that was weird is that Angela and I were looking back at it, and if one thing, if I had not gotten into a fight with a kid at school, Angela and I would never have met. If Angela's
Right.
path continued on the way hers did, but mine didn't. But I just chose. I did not get into this particular fight in high school with this kid who pissed me off. But I was an angry kid. But if I had not gotten into that scrap, I never would have met my wife, because our paths were about to diverge massively, and we never would have been in the same place at the exact same time. We would basically have been around each other. But my commitments to one place would put me here, and her commitments would have put her there, because I was actually going to be in Oklahoma on a wrestling scholarship, and she would have been down here in Texas on a theater scholarship. And so we would have been just, kind of around one another. So we would have just passed each other by. But because I got into that fight, I lost a lot of opportunities. But other opportunities opened up because I stayed here in Texas, and we met.
I like the sound effects there. It makes it more poignant.
I have to say, looking it up, Harvard consistently ranks in the top 5. I haven't seen it ranked any lower than 3rd.
Harvard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about that. If it ever dropped, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that because it's going to sound conspiratorial.
So JL believes in
people
fate.
already saying
Hang on a second.
people are already saying I believe in God. So
Yep. Thus believes in God. Shocker.
apparently, web bar. Apparently, me being a Beardman is apparently a nexus moment.
So JL is saying God brought you all together, Johnny. True story.
No, I do not. Why do I even open my fucking mouth? I swear. I try to wax poetically about a thing, and then all of a sudden I'm a woo-believing, mass attending, drink the Kool-Aid idiot.
Nobody said idiot. I almost
Nobody said
JL.
idiot.
JL, wait a second.
But I am a woo-believing, mass attending, Kool-Aid drinking.
Wait a minute, JL. I want to preface that by saying
I want to be special. I am the hero of my own story.
I almost said no one said Kool-Aid drinking. I just want you to... Oh, jeez.
I have value and meaning. Bestowed me upon by the highest authority in the land.
That's a pretty good Darth Dawkins impersonation, I must say.
God damn it, I'm special.
I imagine that's exactly what he sounds like when he's off microphone. Like he composes himself just enough to be able to sound, high and mighty when he's on microphone, but when he gets pissed off, he mutes himself. One of these days, he's going to forget to mute himself, and that's exactly the sound we're going to hear.
Which is even funnier because even when he still sounds like a gibbering idiot.
He does. Don't overtalk me.
It was so funny. Just as kind of like a bookend to that whole thing about Darth Dawkins getting his ass whooped in these debates. We know that Darth Dawkins has sycophants, right? As a matter of fact, we surmise that Darth Dawkins actually has 7 Horcruxes, and that those Horcruxes are scattered about Discord. And we think we've identified them all, and we're pretty certain we know what they all are. We're pretty sure the 7th Horcrux is actually Jack Angstrike, which is his nemesis. Because Jack has been following him around since the days of Pal Talk, and Jack is just following around, just destroying wherever he can find him. So we think Jack Angstrike is the 7th Horcrux. But there was actually a moment when another guy named Otangelo, who is one of Darth's little lackeys. It was interesting. It was really weird because this actually got out because Tom Rabbit records everything, and this got out that Otangelo, after the Tom thing, Otangelo was doing a critique, was like, something in what Tom said, something that happened in that debate clicked with Otangelo. And Otangelo, I think, had like what alcoholics would call a moment of clarity. And Call was like, okay, hey, and you could hear the trepidation in his voice. He was going to call out Darth Dawkins for something Darth did in the debate, or something he did not do. He's like, you had an opportunity to do this, but why didn't you? And Otangelo already had an answer as to why Darth didn't do it. Darth's answer was because it's a derailment, and I knew it was coming, and I don't engage with that crap because I want to get to the point. And Otangelo was like, but that was a very circumspect question. I mean, it wouldn't be a controversial thing for you to answer it. Why didn't you? Because blah 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 and all these excuses. And then, but you could tell Otangelo's like, something's not jiving here. Now, I'm not saying that Otangelo is going to turn his back on Dawkins, but there was a moment there where he was like, where I think he saw Darth's dishonesty firsthand and was trying to reconcile it. Like, there's got to be some bigger meaning here as to why he did this, because if he's right, why would he do this thing a certain way? And we're all sitting here, and when I was listening to this video, I'm like, oh, it's like Otangelo he sees it. Like, he sees the truth of the situation. Darth Dawkins is dishonest, and his epistemology is broken, and he has nothing. He has no argumentation. His shit falls flat the minute you internally critique it. That's why he always, the minute you start going into either you go into an internal critique or you mention the Bible or Jesus, all of a sudden he's got headset problems and has to leave, or he's got an appointment
Right.
and he has to go.
Yeah, gotta go get dinner with his mommy.
You step outside anywhere, and he will run, because he's got to keep it in the area of his script. You start doing critiques. No, that ain't gonna fly. It's just philoso speak, or gobbledygook, or whatever he wants to call it. Because
I like how you keep bringing in the Harry Potter references there. John Rapp, a Horcrux is an artifact infused with a piece of a person's soul, often and only created by dark magic.
And it's a meme. Mario Rui says Otangelo is dumb, and yes, Otangelo has gotten beat up repeatedly calling into the atheist experience. A number of those guys, and Talk Heathen as well. Eric Murphy, was whooped on him, and so has Matt Dillahunty. So yeah, Otangelo is not well. I'm not going to say Otangelo is dumb, because I think this video demonstrates it, that Otangelo
So you're not really in a position to do so?
What do you mean?
You
were making a joke, but I legit.
That's okay.
I was saying that it was just, originally I would have said just because I'd only experienced or I'd only heard Otangelo's dumb arguments. I was like, Otangelo just doesn't get this. Otangelo's just uninformed, or he's uneducated, or he's dumb, whatever. Now I'm thinking, it's like, wait a minute, maybe he's not. Now it could be willful ignorance, or it could just be hopeful thinking that he really, really, really wants this shit to be true, which is fine. He can want that. But now he's seen the dark side of Darth Dawkins, and it didn't jive well. You could tell that you could hear the gears turning. You could smell the burning of the cognitive dissonance. Whereas, like, wait a minute, he's supposed to be this, and then and he was trying to reconcile it so hard, and I don't think he was able to. So it'll be interesting to see if Otangelo hangs around. I don't think obviously he's not going to convert him, but I don't think he'll be hanging around Darth Dawkins much longer. Because that's what Darth Dawkins eventually does. Eventually, he alienates everybody, because if there's nobody around, if there's no atheist around, the pack must feed. He will eat his own. They'll find the weakest member of the weakest Christian around them, and they'll freaking devour him because they don't believe exactly how Darth does. And there's fucking audio of this. Tom Rabbit records it all, so you can go and listen to them just literally eating other Christians because no atheists are coming around. So.
Okay.
Yes, Rodent. It's like watching a highly functional Special Olympics.
That's insulting to the Special Olympics.
It actually is. Yeah.
What did they do to you? Just teasing.
Who is that? Who is that comedian? That comedian musician. who has the Stephen Lynch.
Oh, is it Stephen? Is it Stephen Lynch?
Yeah, I think
The
it's
one that
Stephen
does
Lynch.
the one that does all the he's
Watch them laugh, watch them drool, watch them fall into the pool. That's diving at the Special Olympics. It's fucked up. His shit is. He's got much worse than that, but.
Yeah, I was thinking of somebody different. I was thinking of oh god, there was a try not to laugh challenge, and it has anyway the very last one. It's this oh, he's got cerebral palsy. Not Josh Blue. This is before Josh Blue. But one of he does remakes of songs, and one of them was the Bryan Adams, "Baby, You're All That I Want," right?
Oh, yeah.
But he talks about how
I'm lying here in your arms.
yeah. But he talks about how that, but she lives on the 4th floor, and all he has is his wheelchair, and there are only stairs.
That's fucked up.
But it's hilarious.
I can't get to you. Can't get to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, Mario Ruiz says, I saw Otangelo in Math Pig's channel the last time. Still dumb. Sorry, JL. Okay, I was trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he is dumb. I don't know. Tim Minchin?
No,
Is it somebody else?
Tim Minchin is somebody else. He's an Australian musical comedian.
Oh, okay.
An extremely good piano player.
Yes. He's the one who did Particular God, right?
He did the Pope song.
Yeah, okay. He's got red hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. His it was my friend's.
Thank
my
you.
mom's Thank you, God.
It's called Thank You, God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and my particular God, in a particular book, in a particular place. Like that.
Yeah. He's got 3 that I think you'd like. Thank You, God, the Pope song, and We Love Jesus is another good one, and what is it? It was just there and it slipped away.
I first saw him when he was on Californication with David Duchovny. He was in I think the latter seasons of that one. As
the one I'm talking about is Jesper Olderberg. Let's see if I can find you a link to this guy. He's fucking hilarious.
I'll definitely link that. But that dude is funny as hell. Tim Minchin, he is hysterical. I mean, just brilliantly talented. Fuck that dude. That guy is so good.
Yeah, his piano playing is absolutely extraordinary. And he's musically very adept. His lyrics are just fantastic. He is an extraordinarily talented musician. But his lyrics are also great. So
very smart.
Good book. That's the other one. Good book. You should look up Good Book.
It makes me sad because my favorite episode one of my favorite episodes of Californication, which is a brilliant series, which is so fan. It was so. I mean, David Duchovny was magnificent in it. Hank Moody, just wonderful character. But one of my favorite episodes of that was one with Tim Minchin in it, and Marilyn Manson was in it as well. It was the episode where it was like Marilyn Manson plays himself, and he's over at Tim Minchin's house, and then Hank's daughter is over there visiting, and it's like, it's like they're trying to keep her from being influenced by this lifestyle, and it's like, no, this can't happen. And Marilyn Manson is like, I'm just here to do narcotics. But now it's fucked up because I really like that episode. But now what's going on with Marilyn Manson is all fucked up, and he's being canceled. So
what's going on with Marilyn Manson now?
So Marilyn Manson was in. If anybody who's been watching American Gods knows that he was cast in season 3 as a berserker. He was a berserker who was leading a Norse death metal band. He was the front man of a Norse death metal band. And he was supposed to have a small arc as a follower of Mr. Wednesday. But allegations came out from Evan Rachel Wood and a number of other actresses and individuals who have worked around him that of sexually inappropriate behavior and sexual transgressions. That pretty much reigns the scale. And Stars was like, I think it was Fremantle. Fremantle and Stars were like, absolutely not. So they actually cut him out of his arc, and we didn't get to see any more from him. So he was supposed to do 3 episodes. He only did 2. And in the 3rd episode, it was completely, changed. And then he was supposed to die. There was supposed to be a big thing, but then they just showed like a fake corpse of him. It's like, oh, the character's dead. It's all fake. So they didn't work. And then he's been dropped from a number of things he was supposed to be doing, and so he has been. It's fucked up. I mean, it's fucked up what he did, and it's just it's obnoxious. Now I feel like sometimes I feel like I can't like the things that I liked in the past.
So I mean, I have to step up here because I think that the term cancel has taken on a meaning, outside of its outside of what it is supposed to refer to. So we talk about cancel culture and that sort of thing, which is a ludicrous term, and I don't think it accurately describes what should be happening. So people who do reprehensible stuff should pay the penalties for that.
Yes.
And and should be held to account. And it's not one of my a couple of the people I thought very highly of as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult are people who turned out to be sexual criminals. Harvey Weinstein was involved. I was watching Prophecy the other day. I think it's a Harvey Weinstein film.
It's a Miramax film,
and you see that and you go, okay, well, I can watch this film. Harvey Weinstein isn't in it, but
Shakespeare in Love, same thing.
Holding these people accountable is not actually. It's nothing reprehensible. It's nothing bad. And I kind of think that there is both an attempt to extend sort of social justice warriorship to the point where they want people held to account for crimes.
I think where the cancel culture comes in is not necessarily the fact that people want to hold Harvey Weinstein accountable for his actions. It's that they want to cancel, Matt Damon films because of what Harvey Weinstein did. I think that's where we have the issue with, quote, cancel culture.
Yeah, and I think that's I was actually quite indulgent of sort of people overstepping the mark and thinking that people who were campaigning for racial equality or sexual equality or sexuality equality were entitled to have the playing field tilted in their favor for a little while. But it does seem like they don't just want to tilt it a little bit in their favor. There are people who are just so desolated emotionally that they just want to take away fun. They want to take away stuff that is enjoyable just because that makes them feel powerful, and therefore they will attack anybody regardless of the intent behind the utterance, regardless of the activities that the person has undertaken in a broader context, just because, again, like Reds and Cheshire Vic, it makes them feel like the heroes in their own personal story.
Nice segue.
That they will hold people to account. I'm calling a spade here.
But those particular spades, that was a very nice segue. It was like having a conversation with the guy here, and then all of a sudden you're just like, pow! By the way, point. There's the point of my statement.
Yep.
So it's we and I think that particular group well illustrate the dangers behind this mindset. They're constantly on the lookout for something that they can be fucking outraged by, that they can use to scorch the earth on their way to their target of choice. And
They can't get
fuck the
famous.
consequences.
If they can't get famous or they can't get the attention they want on their own merits, they can get their attention or become famous by destroying someone else's merits.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that there's sort of people like my brother, Jessica G. There's no prizes for guessing that Jessica G actually thinks that people shouldn't take stuff too seriously. So yeah,
Johnny, I just saw that meme. What?
Just letting you in on a little secret here. Not all of the Jessica G doesn't mean all of the mean stuff she says about people who aren't mean. The stuff she says about me, she clearly means. It's all serious.
Yep.
And I accept that. I'm just going to live with it. But
John Rapp, don't mention her name. You mention her name too many times, she'll fucking show up.
What?
Oh, he's talking about she who will not be named in the chat.
Oh. But what if she did that thing that Voldemort did whenever you say he who shall not be named, or you know what I mean? It made them like appear something.
Oh, fucking hell.
Anyway, it's time to get out of here.
You just reminded me of a joke, Johnny.
Oh, let's hear it.
So a comedian of mine, his girlfriend came in and said, which of my friends do you find the most attractive? Well, that's what she said. What he heard was, I feel like a fight, because there's no correct answer to that. There's no answer to that question that is not going to result in a fight. And so he decided that since he had pretty much been condemned to a fight at that point, he was going to have some fun with it. And his response was, well, Susan is the prettiest, but Debbie does that thing with her thumb. Okay.
Oh, I thought there was more. I thought there was more.
No, that was his answer. And clearly, other people thought that was funny. Other people, I'm referring to me, but so I'm obviously using the term people in its loosest possible sense.
Come on, Tony, you're people. Yeah. You're people to somebody.
I'm people to somebody, yes. Anyway, that went over like a lead balloon. Always great.
Zeppelins fly. Anyway. It is time to wrap, because obviously PhD Tony needs to get his funny sleep. I mean, his beauty sleep. I mean, his sleep.
All of the above. He's non-fat sleep.
Out of curiosity, do we know where Irish Demon is? I'm just fucking curious at this point.
He's at home, lying down in bed, counting all of his laurels.
He's somewhere where he wants to be, and this isn't it. Would be my conclusion.
I bet he felt that over in Perth.
Yeah, he's got an unexplainable cramp in his right leg. All right. Let's get out of here. Let's do our thing. PhD Tony, what do you got coming up?
I'm working. Just in case I missed any.
There it is.
Clive Wells is right, using the word joke in the loosest sense.
Yeah, in the loosest sense. That too. I am working on a video about radiocarbon dating. I have not lived up to my promise to generate a channel called PhD Tony Hates Literature. but I am hoping to work with Chris Durham on an episode about an author that is much beloved by at least one member of the panel.
I know who he's talking about.
I challenge anybody out there to make a video, go through all of PhD Tony's content, and clip out every single and put together a video of and if you could change it, maybe you could make a song out of it.
I was gonna say you have to do it in a song.
You have to do it in a song.
Like Beethoven's Ninth or something like that.
Or Carol of the Bells.
Carol of the Bells. That would be great.
So.
Or you could do something angry like Master of Puppets. That would be funny as shit. Oh, Jesus. JL, what do you got coming up?
Fucking amazing. All right. So, huge fucking things going on, both my personal channel and Week in Horror. I am working on something. I'm going to try and get a video out before we make the big move. My last day at my work is May 21st, and we are moving shortly after that. Pretty much we're emptying out the house as we speak. My office is going to be the last. I'm going to try and put out one more video before we actually like leave and actually make the move. So it will not be my Christianity as a Cult. The beginning of that series.
That's a bite model, right?
That's a huge one, and I'm going to be releasing that when I get up to Oklahoma and I get situated, because I find there was so much stuff. I guess shit that you got to pull, like pictures and stuff like that. There was so much that I had to do with that one to try and, so it's not just me going, blah, 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 talking at the screen. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that's really, really good, and it's going to take some time to edit. So I want to make sure I'm comfortable and, I'm not rushed. But I'm going to try and put out one more. Still going to put out some shorts, some interesting stuff to try to make people laugh. And then we get the big move. And then I'm moving. This is pretty soon. This will be. I will not be in this office anymore. I will be in the new, larger workspace that I think will be really, really cool. And I think I'm going to get all that set up. So I'm really excited about that. So we are moving. This does not put a hamper on anything that the four Beardsmen are planning. I'm not moving that far away. I'm literally only moving a few hours away. This would be no different if I was moving down to like South Texas. So I'm just moving north. That's all I'm doing. So if we plan something in Dallas, I can still be here. No problem. Anyway, that's for my personal stuff. Week in Horror, big huge news coming up. I'm really excited about this weekend. Because there's big things happening this weekend. Johnny is very much aware of it. We will be there.
Next weekend.
Go down. No, it's this weekend, dude.
21st.
Today's the 16th.
Yeah, I know what date it is.
Yeah, so this upcoming Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, I still think today is the weekend. I'm still thinking like we're in the current weekend.
Okay. So my new week starts on Sunday. So this upcoming weekend we have really, really fun stuff coming up. And I cannot wait to reveal it to everybody at Week in Horror, of all of our fans over there. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Eugene will tell me when I can do that because he's running point on that. So he'll be like, now you can talk, and I'll be like, now I'll release all the information. Other than that, episodes will continue Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. There may be a few episodes that I'm not there because I will be in the middle of moving. So
no excuses, JL. You play like a champion.
I know, right? I haven't missed
kidding.
an episode
I'm just
of
kidding.
Week in Horror yet.
Just kidding.
I actually did them. We're almost up to 90 episodes, and I haven't missed an episode yet. So I'm kind of like, unless I can get moved and set up in less than a week.
No, take your time.
Get all my shit up there then, because I would have loved to have made the first 100, all 100 episodes, the first 100 episodes.
Well, just call in on your phone then. We'll bring you in via telephone.
Because as it turns out, let's see, I was actually doing it because I was feeling nostalgic, and our 100th episode is August 18th.
Yeah,
that's officially our 100th episode. Our season finale is in September.
All you gotta do is join from your phone. Maybe I'll set up a StreamYards thing, and then we can just set up from, like I said, all you gotta do is click a link and make it really easy. And got the animatic outro. I can do all that stuff a little easier. So
that's possible. We'll see what happens. I may be so fucking anal about it. I'll just be like, no, I'm gonna be there. So I may force it. So I'm like, I'm fucking here. So I don't know. So maybe. I plan on doing pretty much my entire office in one go. So I'm going to this is all that's left. Then we're just going to box it all up in one deal, take it all up there, move it into the office space, and boom, put it all out like this. So I may end up doing it really fast, and I may not have the full office set up, but I'll be in front of my computer able to go, I'm here. So maybe I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. It's still a little ways away.
I mean, it would be most convenient for the fans, knowing that they could skip the first 100 episodes to get to the stuff later on.
That's terrible.
But
I fucking hate
perhaps you. That's a. I have a serious question.
Okay,
I have a serious question, and I think it's a very good one. Under the bite model, would Islam and Judaism similarly be categorized?
Yes.
Okay.
The Abrahamic religion.
Do you feel like you should make that point in your video?
I think in a wrap-up, I could. I do. The reason I'm going after Christianity is because it's the largest of the three.
Mm-hmm. But
not the oldest, but the largest. Yeah.
No, but you do understand the argument that it's sort of there is something of a focus amongst there are, for instance, something like 1 billion Hindus on the planet, and it's not a religion that gets critiqued very often, even though they do some very noxious things. It does seem like a very Christian-centric viewpoint sometimes.
Well, yeah, the title is Christianity is a Cult.
Well,
I mean, I could say religion is a cult.
But you could generalize that.
I could, but
there are some religions are cults.
But there's some. I mean, they're religions. There's some religions out there that really don't act like that because they don't try to control their followers' feeling, emotions, and thoughts. Not like Christianity does. Christianity gets a real good standout because of the Bible. Now, obviously, Islam has the Quran and stuff like that, and Judaism is just right behind, because they still use parts of the Bible. But Christianity really, really gets it because of the number of denominations, the number of interpretations,
it's the Torah, by the way,
the Torah, and then the wild, shit that goes on in the various denominations of Christianity from come on, everything, Jehovah's Witnesses, from JWs all the way to snake handlers up in the Appalachians, that kind of shit. I mean, you cross the whole spectrum. So yeah, that's why I felt. Plus, not to mention, I was raised a Christian. I was raised and confirmed as a Christian, and then 10 years later, or 10 years after, I was like, nope, this is bullshit. I figure I'll stay in my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is Christianity because I wasn't raised a Muslim or a Jew. So I'll stick in my wheelhouse and go after Christianity. Otherwise, someone's going to come up. The only reason I addressed Muslim skeptic is because Muslim skeptic was making claims about atheism that were bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But anywho, we have that.
Just thought
it's cool. It's all good. Other than that, the episodes will continue. We've got the really awesome McLean Lindquist as a special guest on this week's episode. It'll be really fun. I'm pretty sure Alex will be available for that. So anyway, but we got cool stuff coming up, and I cannot wait to share with everybody. Other than that, oh yeah, we got some cool. I'm changing up the prices a little bit. So if you want to win something really, really cool, it's different from shit from our store. Come by the show this weekend, or come by the show this Wednesday, because I have something new to give away. It'll be fun.
All right, what do I got going on? I've got the news. I'm working on a debate with a Matt Powell.
Oh shit! You just reminded me of something, but never. I'll say it after you're speaking.
Okay, I'm working on getting Matt Powell on for a debate with PhD Tony. Probably shouldn't have said anything, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think he's going to agree to it because he's a bitch. And I don't mean that in a female derogatory way. I mean that in a he's Matt Powell's a giant crybaby and can't.
Hashtag bitch made.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I hope he does, simply because I want to see PhD Tony completely destroy his nonsensical crap that comes out of his mouth.
Tony, can you destroy Matt Powell in debate?
On young Earth creationism, absolutely.
Oh, he missed the setup.
Oh, yes, I fucking can. There you go.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, I fucking can.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, this is the same guy that said the dinosaurs that the dinosaurs farted themselves to extinction. This is what science says. Dinosaurs farted themselves into extinction. No, it's not. That's not what science said.
No, that is not at all.
Just so. Yeah. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen the most recent plot hole video, go check that out because it's pretty funny. I do say so myself. Anyway, so I got the news coming up. Then Tuesday, I got discussions with who knows. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what happens. What else? Yeah, that's Wednesday will be Weekend Horror, which is a lot of fun. I'll be in the background throwing things at people, like always.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday, more Dingleberries. I'm not sure who the Dingleberry is going to be, but yeah. Oh, I guess the biggest tease I can give about the news show is that I sat down with two people who were involved in the Booleanator fundraiser and extensively went through their receipts, and I'll give my thoughts on that tomorrow.
And uncovered the truth behind the JFK assassination.
Exactly. I now know who the second gunman on the grassy knoll is.
It wasn't me. Just throw it out there. Apparently, I was just throwing it out there during the agree to disagree debate. But apparently, I will. If I haven't got an email from Katz yet, but if he sends it to me, I will be debating Austin Whitsitt on his theism.
Austin.
So, yeah, his name's Austin, right? Austin?
Yeah, his name is Dumbass.
Yeah,
but
I just call him No Wits.
Yeah, Witless works.
Witless works. Yeah. So, but yeah, apparently I'm gonna be debating him. I almost said dominating him. I'm gonna be debating him on his theism. I said, hey, would you ever debate your theism? I'll take you on. And the Katz was like, I'll set that up. And Austin was like, yeah, bring it. And I was like, okay, dude.
You asked for it, you dumbass. All right, well, that's going to be it from us today. Everybody say goodbye.
That is not getting any reaction. That's not getting any reaction anywhere.
What's that?
Because I said I was going to be debating Austin. Everybody's like, well, that'll go over like Tony's joke. So apparently it is. Anyway. Oh, well, fuck it. It'll be a good time on Agree to Disagree.
It'll be good fun.
Well, I mean, let's not get all of these guys kind of reserve the right to pull out at a moment's notice. So,
that's
like
true.
Their father should have.
Oh,
like their father should have.
All right, let's get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.